We can start, right?
Good to go.
Great, thank you. Before I open the hearing for the Barnstable Conservation Commission, I would like to ask George to do a roll call for the quorum purpose.
Abadili.
Present.
Foster.
Present.
Gilmore present. Hearn is absent tonight. Lee.
Present.
Bagney.
Present.
Sampu is presently absent. He'll be joining us later. Administrator Darcy Carley. Oh, sorry, Darcy's on vacation. She's absent. Staff member Kim Kavanaugh.
Present.
Agent Ed Hoops.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Acting under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and or Chapter 237 of the Code of Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 at 3 p.m. on the applications of Edward and Luna Lutaski. The hearing will be held remotely as televised on Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. The plans and application are on file and may be reviewed by scheduling an appointment by sending email requests to Darcy Curley or Ed Hoops at 230 South Street, Hyannis. This meeting is being recorded and transmitted on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make your presence known. Hearing none, this afternoon's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda next to each application is the amount owed to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisement. Please send your checks to the Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. Remote participations. The Conservation's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed up by the Governor on March 29, 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Remote public access to this hearing should be provided in the following manner. 1, the hearing will be televised via the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. 2, the real-time public comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom link 880-8583-8538 or use the toll-free phone number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. 3rd, the public can also email the comment to darcy.curley at town.barnstable.ma.us or edwin.hoops at town.barnstable.ma.us at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. This afternoon, Commissioner Sampu will join us by roughly around 3:15 or so. He wants to participate in our executive sessions. Therefore, I'm taking agenda items out of the order. I'm going to the old and new business first. And let me read the item first. Request for letter of support sent to Woodland Land Protection Projects, Barnstable Land Trust, Inc. Request Conservation Commission review information on the Centwood Woodlands Land Protection Projects. The Centwood Woodland Land Protection Projects includes purchase of 5.84 acres of undeveloped Zone 2 wellhead protection land at 4609 Falmouth Road in the village of Contuit. Assessors map 024, parcel 042. BLT has the property under agreement with the current owner, and upon purchasing the property will grant a conservation restriction to the Town of Barnstable and the Contuit Fire Districts, acting by and through its Board of Water Commissioners. Kelly?
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi. For the record, my name is Kelly Grant. I'm working for the Compact of Cape Cod Conservation Trusts, and today I'm representing Barnstable Land Trust for this Centwood Woodland Land Protection Project. Would you like me to share my screen to show the map of the property?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Right. So as you just described, this is the Santuit Woodlands property, which is at 4609 Falmouth Road in the village of Katuitt. It's a 5.84 acre property. Barnstable Land Trust has it under agreement for a purchase at the moment and have made an application to the CPC for CPA funding for the acquisition of a conservation restriction on the property for $250,000. They recently received unanimous approval at the annual fire district meeting for $50,000 in funding from the Board of Water Commissioners, the Katuitt Board of Water Commissioners. In terms of the conservation values of the property, it's the entire property is located within the Zone 2 wellhead protection area, and it's contiguous with existing preserved open space owned by Barnstable Land Trust. So the intention for the property is to obviously preserve the property in its natural undeveloped condition and take advantage of the connection to the existing open space property to create some public access off Santuit Newton Road with a small parking area and a loop trail that would loop around both of those parcels, which will be a total of about 12 acres, just under 12 acres in total area. So today we are asking the Commission if they would provide a letter of support for the Community Preservation Act funding request that is scheduled to go to the Town Council. I think it is June 20th, I think. And so we're looking for a letter of support for the Town Council and for us to include in a grant application that we're making to the Conservation Partnership Grant. And also we included in the packet the conservation restriction, which would be granted jointly to the Town of Barnstable and to the Katuitt Board of Water Commissioners as co-grantees. We're looking for approval of that conservation restriction as written, with the ability to make minor changes to the document as required by the state review process. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you, Kelly. And the CPC has approved, as like Kelly's mentioned it, CPC has approved this project applications on May 20th for the funding and going to recommend that approval to the Town Council presidents for approval. Question, John?
Muted, John.
There you go. Hi, Kelly. Sounds great as usual, but just my usual questions. This will allow for public access, I think you said. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. There will be a public access parking and trail onto the property. Parking will be on the existing Barnstable Land Trust property with a trail connection onto this parcel.
That's super. That's great. And maintenance of the trail and the property, who will be responsible for that on an ongoing basis?
So Barnstable Land Trust will be the owners of the property, and they'll be responsible for maintaining the property and the trails and the parking area.
Okay, so this is not a burden on the conservation staff, right, for the maintenance?
No.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. It looks great.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Any other question from the Commissioner? Seeing none. Could I have a motion to authorize the chairs to prepare and send a support letter for these projects to the Town Council presidents?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee.
Aye.
Tangy.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
Pete is not with us yet, so
No.
let me go to the extension request. The first item is NAMC Nominee Trust SE3-5879, and this is the first request for the 3 years. Is anyone representing NAMC Nominee Trust? Is Steve here? I don't see his name. But that's okay. You know, we always approve the first request.
Tom, excuse me, we do have a letter from Wilkinson.
Yeah.
On file.
Yes. Yeah. Could I have a motion to approve the extension request?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abbott,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee,
Aye.
Agney,
Aye.
and Sam Poo, I don't see, that's unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The second extension request is Vinyl Club SE 3-5893. And again, this is the first request. Kelly is here. Do you want to say anything about this extension request?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Kelly Durfee-Cardoza, and I'm with Avalon Consulting Group. I'm here today for the Wiyano Club. The work that was done in terms of the replacement of the pump house and the installation of the intake structure was done per plan, but the mitigation plantings were done over a slightly larger area. Some of them are not thriving. And so we've asked that the button bush, which is not doing well, be replaced with huckleberry, and that we have this 1-year extension so that we can get the survey done and make sure all the plants are healthy and file the proper request for a certificate of compliance.
Kelly, normally we extend it for 3 years, just for paperwork wise. So, I mean, if you finish in a year, you can also request for the COC anyway. So, is that
So
okay?
then please extend for 3 years. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions from the commissioner? Could I have a motion to approve the extension request?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abbott,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee,
Aye.
Agney,
Aye.
that's unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I am not seeing Kelly on peak here yet, right?
No,
Okay. Let me go to the NOI then.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
were you just asking if I was here?
Kate is here.
Yeah, I did not see your name.
Sorry about that. I do have to interject one thing, though. I understand we do not have a separate link for the executive session. If that's the case, we're not going to be able to hold it because there's no place for the commission to go outside of the public. So Mary Lou is checking with
We have a breakout room
checking
set
with
up.
IT right now with Sarah, and she will let us know whether we're able to get a separate link to break out into perhaps
I
a
think-
conference room.
We have a
We're
breakout
going to have
room
to
set up.
reschedule
in
the
this-
executive session.
Kate, we have a breakout room in this meeting ready to go. So I will invite you and one more
Okay,
to
Yeah.
that.
great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. I'm still waiting for Pete to show up. So let me go to the NOI first. Edward and Luna Lukaskis to permit an existing seasonal piers configuration, which has been modified from SE 3-2195 at 129 Hayes Road, Centerville, as shown on the Assessors Map 210, parcel 095. John.
Good afternoon, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting, representing the applicants. A little bit of housekeeping here. I don't see that the applicant is in the room. We heard from Ms. Lukatsky this morning. Lana, apparently her grandmother, has passed away over the last couple of days. So that's been impacting this somewhat. I would also want to make sure the commission knows, and we let Ed know last week that they did come down for Memorial Day and were very surprised to see the pier in. They had not requested that work be performed. They're kind of new to the property. They probably didn't even know that they were just on someone's radar to be a checkbox that gets done every year. They had reached out, as soon as it occurred to request it be removed. And I know that when I went by there last week, they caught me on the ring cam and said, geez, we're still waiting. They was promised us they were going to be here today, and it was raining, and I don't know. So as I understand it, it still sits in the water today, and they certainly apologize for that, and have been trying to get that taken care of because Ed had been very clear with them, and amongst all of us, we had a good understanding, but making the connections to whoever it is that is the installer, I guess, had not occurred. So that's a little bit of background I can share. I will bring up the plan for you all.
Just before you start, John, I'd like to say that Pete has now joined us.
Okay, thanks.
314.
Okay.
So this is a plan of the property. This is 129 Hayes Road. We're on Lake Wequaquet. As I mentioned, this family purchased the property around 2021. There is an existing permitted pier on the property that was originally proposed or approved as being 3 feet wide. What has existed for a considerable amount of time apparently is not in compliance with that original permit. And the owners have just been installing or having installed whatever the pieces were that were sitting in the yard when they got there. As far as they've indicated to us, they also wrote a letter about their kind of extended family that's all been sharing this property and why the configuration has been good for them. I think that the pier is in the location that it was permitted. I think that it is basically the length that is permitted. As I said, the sort of walkway surface was originally 3 feet wide and it's 4 feet wide. And there's I don't know if we call this an L or a pier head or what we, not quite our typical L, but a pier head that is probably wider than that. The commission's guidelines would generally indicate. We're not in the center of the property, but again, it has long existed and it's permitted location. So it's the applicant's hope that the commission could consider allowing what has been there to remain. I think with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. John? Oh, before I go to John, this is a revised plan that was sent out by Kim earlier this morning. And this as showing the mitigation area that previously under the enforcement that has been discussed. And I think the only thing that's missing that I saw this morning was the top of the block wall that John need to add it in there as a revised plan. So go ahead, John.
Excuse me. John, would you specify for me and the commissioners and the record exactly what the differences are in width and length of the requested pier versus the approved? You were a little fuzzy to me when you said, well, you thought it's a little bit longer or not, or a little bit wider or not, and the T's at the end. So could you give us the specifically width, length, and design variances for the commissioners and for the record, please?
Yes, I can. The width of the permitted pier was 3 feet wide all the way out. The existing conditions is 4 feet wide and then has a pier head in addition to that. The length of the pier, just pulling up the permit plan on the other side, have the dimensions. Good to chapter 91. The conservation plans didn't even have dimensions on them, but the chapter 91 plans did, and there was a, so I'm reading it upside down. The pier was 64 feet plus or minus with a 4.5 foot connection plus or minus. So that would be 68.5 plus or minus feet from wherever the shoreline had been 1991. So a plus or minus 68.5 versus 70 feet, of which a foot or two of it's overlapping onto the wall anyway. So that was my opinion, that this was
Okay.
within the length.
Okay, so, and the design change is what you're calling pier head. Maybe George Gilman could define that for me, but what?
Yes, so this dashed line would be if it had extended out just the
Right.
continuous 4 feet out. So there is an extra, 8 feet of width on the end of the pier.
Okay, 8 feet at the end. All right, thank you for that explanation.
Thank you, John. Louise?
Thank you, Tom. John, what are the square feet of what's the area of the float, please?
So there is no float. This is all a fixed seasonal structure. So the, additional 8 feet at the end would be 160 square feet.
So it's 160 square feet in terms of that platform at the end?
In terms of the additional platform, yes.
So are you asking for a waiver relative to our regs or relative to what had been approved previously?
We are asking for relief from the guidelines.
From the guidelines. Okay, so specifically, I mean, I guess where I'm going to is, I believe in your application, you talk about the need for waivers because someone in the family is confined to a wheelchair. I am thinking that's probably associated with the sad news that you told us about just now, but is that area because of the wheelchair need?
The 4 feet, the 4 feet wide of the walkway, I think is a standard anyway, but the 4 feet width for the wheelchair certainly helps, and having the additional square footage of the platform beyond the guidelines, I think that worked well with their family dynamic.
So it's not limited to the needs of someone in a wheelchair, is what you're saying. So that's what you
I don't think we expected to be where we are literally today, but I'm sure that they, if they could, would like to keep the configuration regardless of the new news. But I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Pete?
She is muted.
Pete, unmute yourself. Go ahead, Pete. While we're waiting for Pete, George, you want to go first? Next?
Sure. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've approved these pier heads, quote unquote pier heads, in freshwater ponds before. Seems to me there are a couple that we approved, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody else remember that? Tom, do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a out of the ordinary request. And obviously the 4 feet wide is fine for the walkway. So I really don't have any problem with it. Thank you.
Well, is it the idea of a pier head per se, or is it the dimensions of the pier head that is of?
It seems to me the ones we've approved before were exactly the same size as this, 12 by 20.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, and it's none of it's floating, so it's all fixed.
240 square feet, right?
Right.
I don't, Pete, do you still want to say anything? Nothing.
I think he's gone now.
Chair Wigton, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None? Let me try this. Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to receipt of a revised plan showing the top of the wall, top of the block wall?
Tom, are you ready?
Yeah.
I would second that motion, and I would like to add that I was impressed by Ms. Lukaski's letter that she sent into the commission about her particular family situation, and I'm glad that's part of the record. So I would make that motion.
Second.
1 second.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee.
Aye.
Pangney.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I'm going to abstain. I'm having trouble. I'm at school with the computer facilities here, so I haven't been able to access this whole. I think I've got at least audio now.
Okay.
Yes, you do. Thanks, Pete. We got you down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, I'm going into the executive sessions for the purpose of discussing the litigation strategy with respect to the decision issued in 3 cases with the Barnstable Superior Court. Civil action number 2372 CV0071 by Sean D. Martin, trustee of the 310 North Bay Road Realty Trust. Civil action number 2372 CV00114 by Stephen M. and Beth McParland. And civil actions number 2372 CV00245 by JMS Holdings, LLC. If the chair determines that an open sessions could be detrimental to the commission's litigation positions, as the chair, I declare that the discussions of the pending litigation strategy in open session with respect to the case of Sean D. Martin, trustee of 310 North Bay Road Realty Trust, Barnstable Superior Court civil action number 2372 CV0071, Stephen M. and Beth McFarland, civil action number 2372 CV00114, and JMS Holding LLC 2372 CV00245 may have a detrimental effects on the litigation position of the commissions. Following the executive session, the commission will reconvene in open sessions. I recognize George to make the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into executive session under General Law Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss pending litigation with respect to the case of Sean D. Martin, trustee of the 310 North Bay Realty Trust, civil action number 2372 CV0071, Stephen N. M. and Beth McParland, civil action number 2372 CV00114, and JMS Holdings LLC, civil action number 2372 CV00245, based on the chair's declaration that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the commission and will not reconvene in open session following the conclusion of the executive session. I think
Excuse me, George, I think you mean to say will reconvene.
Will
Will
reconvene. I
reconvene.
was just going to say, that's why I hesitated. I'll reread that last sentence. Based on the chair's declaration that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the commission, and will reconvene in open session following the conclusion of the.
You lost of what? Oh, at the end of the executive sessions. I second the motions. Roll call.
Abadili,
Yes, aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee,
Aye.
Tangney,
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
We are going into the second session about 3:30. Stone is going to transfer us into the executive sessions. Break our room. Stone, are we all set?
All set.
Thank you.
We're back in session at 3:57.
Thank you. We have 4 continuance. The first one is Hyannis Harbor Tour, Inc. to permit emergency dredging and future maintenance dredge S220 Ocean Street, Hyannis, Massachusetts, as shown on the assessors map 326, parcel 069070 and 071-001. This is a continuance from April the 16th and April the 30th without testimony. The quorum is everyone's. Bob?
Yes, hello, Robert Bremen from Bremen Surveying.
Yes.
This is a response to the emergency dredging, as you said, at 22 Ocean Street in Hyannis for Hyannis Harbor Tours. The emergency dredging has been completed. I've actually gone out and done the after dredge, post dredge survey. However, I haven't quite finished the plan yet, and I will get that off to you folks as soon as I do, which is the next couple of weeks. So everything is pretty much all set. The material was taken by Hyannis Marina over to the dockside marina, dewatered there, and trucked away to the disposal site down in Dennis.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions from the commissioner? None. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
Could I have a motion to approve this project as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili? Aye. Foster?
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee?
Aye.
Agni?
Aye.
Sampu?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck, Rob. The second.
All right, thanks. Have a good night, guys.
Yep. The second.
George.
Zero.
The second continuance is George and Lori Alter. Proposed extension of existing pier ramp and float at 306 Long Beach Road, Sandyville, as shown on assessors map 185, parcel 024. This is a continuance from May the 7th, and the quorum is everyone except George, right? No, George is on this one too, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you. For the record, Mark Burgess from Consulting, representing Mr. Attar for this, and he is online somewhere. Anyhow, so there was a suggestion by the board to try to look into an alternative design to rotate the floats 90 degrees and put them out lined up with the adjacent floats, which we've done.
Can you share the plan?
Yes. Hold on. Let's see. Yep. I'm getting better at this.
Excuse me, Mark. This is George Attar. I am here. I thought the chair was speaking about Mr. Gilman, so I didn't speak up. So excuse me.
That's okay. Keep going, Mark.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, so we used the existing floats that were there, the 8x19 and the 8x16. So there's nothing beyond, no expansion beyond what has been there in recent years. So those are rotated sideways. You can see the magenta line right here in both the aerial view and the zoomed in view, that lines up with the seaward extent of the adjacent floats. The boat would stick out beyond that, but exactly similar to any boat berthed at either one of the two floats on either side of the property. So nothing sticks out any more than anybody else, if you will. I lengthened the ramp to 16 feet because I didn't like, I'm sorry, to 18 feet because I didn't like the angle at low tide. And that's because we're raising the dock up, if you recall. So the dock length and the ramp have been adjusted to meet these floats. That's in the elevation view here. The existing conditions are in like the brown type right here. So you can see that's where the pile is right now. The float actually they're turned perpendicular. So this is the line of the floats, same as it is up here. And then the boat would be exactly in this space right here. So it doesn't, even with the boat on it, it doesn't stick out any longer than it used to. You can see the back of the boat right here in brown. And then with the boat turned sideways, it's identically in the same position with respect to the river. We did go back before waterways, and I believe you have a support letter from them. I have not seen it, but I believe that we did everything that we were asked to do, and so we are requesting approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. The waterway and the harbor master has reviewed your revised plan. This is dated May 14th, and one of the conditions of the approval is to limit the boat on the outside of the float should be 9.4 feet. That's the recommendation from the waterway.
Tom, could you repeat that? Because I didn't hear what you just said.
I said the waterway and harbor master has reviewed the revised plans dated the May 14th that is on the screen right now. The only condition that they want to put it on is the boat putting on the outside of the flow should be restricted to a beam of 9.4 feet.
Great.
Okay. Luis?
Yeah, so with respect to that, what is the beam of the boat that you're proposing to put on the dock?
The same as it is now. So the waterways asked me the beam of the boat, and I gave that to them, and that's what they want to restrict it to. I do want to respond to that, but I'll wait to hear from them.
So is it 9.4 feet?
Yeah, the existing boat is 9.4 feet. So they're basically placing a restriction on that the boat that's there can't be any wider than what's there. So briefly, that's not what we discussed with this board at the last hearing. We discussed that if we didn't, there was some, quote, threshold of the float. If we wanted to enlarge the floats, there was going to be some threshold that we might reach that would then put the boating restriction on this dock. And the board agreed that if we didn't reach that, quote, threshold, that you wouldn't put a boating restriction on this because it's an older dock. I see no reason to put a restriction on. I mean, even a boat that's 1 foot wider, if people can't navigate in 80 foot of width and 1 foot of a boat width is going to matter, nobody should be navigating that river. It's just, to me, it's just, that's too restrictive, and it's not necessary, and it's not what we agreed on with this board. But I see George has got his hand up, so.
George?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, I agree with Mark. Anybody, if a foot of beam makes that much difference, we're all in big trouble. I'm not going out in the water. I just thank you, Mark, for doing this redesign. I think it meets everything that we requested of you. And the only thing I would say is you don't want to put the Queen Mary in there, that's for sure, but you're not going to do that anyway because of draft limitations. But if we restricted it to 12 feet or something like that, you're not going to get anything bigger than that in there anyway. So, but I agree with you, Mark. If a foot isn't going to make a hill of beans difference there. Thank you.
Thanks, George. John?
Yeah, I would have approved this subject to our standard condition of the boat is spec'd. If he wants to change the boat, he has to come back before the commission. That is what we've done in the past under the new regs, and I'd suggest we do that again. I don't think we need to sit here and say 9.4 forever is maximum, but I do think we need to say, if you want to replace the boat that's there now, which you spec as part of this application, then you must come back before the commission. We've done that elsewhere.
I agree with that, John.
Okay, thank you, George.
Thank you, John. Pete?
And I agree with my lawyer friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
John, your hand's still, you're up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. I'll lower it. However I do that. There you go. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So let me try this. Could I have a motion to approve this project with the latest revised plan date, May 14th? And with the existing boat, if the applicant wants to change the boat, they have to come bring it, they have to bring the boat back to the commission for approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee,
Aye.
Agni,
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck, Mark.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.
Yep. The next continuance is John and Diana Duffley. Propose a replacement of a landscaping retaining wall at 92 Wild Goose Way, Centerville, as shown on the Assessors Map 167, parcel 049. This is a continuance from May 14th, and the quorum is everyone except George and, except George.
Just me. Yep.
Dan.
I don't think we had any testimony at the last one, so I don't know I would be excluding anybody, but.
No, you did not. No, you did not. We did not open. You did not do any.
Yeah, so it's however you want to do it. Dan Ojala from Down Cape Engineering. I'm a civil engineer and land surveyor with Down Cape Engineering in Yarmouth Port, and helping Diana Duffley and her husband out with a wall replacement. Pretty straightforward project. I'll pull up the screen. Here's
Well, he's doing that, Mr. Chairman. Since there was no testimony at the hearing that I wasn't present for, can I vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
You're
you.
part of the quorum.
Yep, thank you.
So this is a 92 Wild Goose Way. That's that small road that comes down towards Scudder Bay. And we've done a number of houses on there over the years. This one, Diane and her husband have been in for many years. The retaining wall, the original retaining wall you can see in the background here, was a very extensive pressure-treated wood system, and it's rotten out over the years and starting to fail. And so it's very important that they replace it. They've decided to go with a ready rock system, which is a concrete block. And they've got an engineered design. We've helped coordinate that. There's an upper wall behind their pool, which will be at 39.0, top of wall, and the bottom of wall tapers from 39 down to about 33. And there's about a 6-foot slope where we're going to be doing revegetated native landscaping. And then the last tier drops down. The top of the wall starts at about 29.5. Down to 28. They're 18-inch steps, and then the middle is about 28 down to 20. In order just to access down to the bottom, and if they ever do want to put a path down towards the river, we've set a piece of pressure-treated stairs here. The resource areas are the Bumps River is out a ways. To the extent that it's not an embayment, we've shown the river inner and outer riparian zones. The disturbance is all pretty much within the outer riparian zone. There's nothing within the inner that we're working within. There's a state coastal bank. The flood zone line hits. It's a very stable vegetated bank, heavily wooded. There's a BVW separating the salt marsh from the upland and from the slope, so it's not considered a local bank, and it would be marginal anyway. Again, we're way up above it where we're working, about 18 feet, and the steep section here is going to be replaced. There's a nice landscape plan. They're proposing juniper, Virginia rose, bayberry, some viburnums, arrowwoods. low bush blueberry, beach plums, and some more juniper. So a nice native mix. And it's not really something, they're just kind of going to look out over this, but it's a nice native mix. It'll, with some of the plants, the blueberries and so forth, provide some fodder for the fowls and small animals. And we think it's a good plan. We did put a revised narrative out on the request of Darcy. We put 3-gallon plants on everything. Just so that they had a good healthy call out as was requested. There's a work limit line established down below that we will monitor, and I would imagine we'll just let that go natural down below, and again revegetate it up above. It's a existing home, just repairing. Again, it's a badly failing tiered, pressure treated with a nice inert concrete retaining wall. I didn't pass it in, but if there's any reason to, we could give you the engineered design that shows all the exact number of blocks and how they're going to be bolted together. But in the essence of saving paper, we didn't pass that in, but the plan view shows it quite clearly. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Dan. John.
Thank you. Dan, a couple of things. I assume that there will be no trees removed from that very steep bank. Is that correct?
So there's a few trees at the bottom. It's almost all cleared already, but I would guess there'd be 3 or 4 at the bottom that would need to be cleared. But in that area, it'll be restored and stabilized.
Well, okay, that's really my concern. I mean, the new plantings look pretty spiffy, but the area below the lower wall, which is heavily vegetated, and you're going to put in the steps going down, I saw nothing there, and I want to make sure we have a condition that any vegetation disturbed in that area will be restored. I assume you're okay with that?
That'd be a fine condition, and the Duffleys happen to own Country Garden, so they can respect that heartily.
Yeah. I met her this morning, and she had her Country Garden shirt on. I immediately went there and spent money and bought flowers. But anyways,
yeah, I'll be doing that soon myself. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to make sure that condition is in there. I also got concerned because I didn't think you had to remove trees, but if trees are going to be removed, then I'd like to see you meet with the staff before and after, identify the trees, and then talk about replacements. So I'd like to see that in there. And the final issue, she mentioned, and then when I walked down there, it's kind of hard, but it looks like an existing path. She said, no, that's not a path that we're going to use. We're not asking for that. So we're not approving any paths going down.
Yeah, that's fine. I know you often allow a 3 or 4 foot path, but they have no desire for that. So it'll be that's not part of the application. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
That's agreed. Yeah.
Any question from the commissioner? None. Chair Noakim, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
None. Let me try this. John, if I miss anything, just let me know. Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to the following? One is the annual report for 3 years. And second, any disturbed area below the lower retaining wall need to be restored. And third, to meet with the staff to identify which trees to be removed, and then maybe replanting some, we'll replant some trees to replace it.
I would make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee.
Aye.
Tangmi.
Aye.
Zampu.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck, Dan.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
We have the last continuous Town of Mashpee proposed maintenance dredging at existing approach, inner and 1916 channels within Popponesset Bay that extends into Barnstable. And this is a continuance from May 14 and 28. because the quorum is everyone except George and I. Bill is not here, so he is not available. But I don't see Paul here. Ed, do you see Paul here, or do you know? We are still waiting for the NHASP letter. Is that the reason why he's not showing up?
I do not see him here at the meeting, and I have not received anything from Paul saying he was not going to be here. He may be assuming that he didn't get the natural heritage letter yet, and
I asked him. I sent him an email yesterday asking if he got the NHESP letter, and I have not heard back from him. Wait a minute, I have an email right now.
Do you want to ask?
We need a request for continuance, Tom, or we're forced to deny this.
The bell.
He's requesting a continuance in this email that came in at 3:08.
Okay.
June 11th.
The June 11th?
Yep.
Okay. Could I have a motion to continue this application to June 11th?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
With the understanding that this should be the last continuance, I think this is the third one, is it not, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, if that's the case, I'd suggest that we send notification to the applicant that this will be the final continuance. If it has to go beyond that, we would be forced to deny it.
Yeah.
Foster.
Aye.
Let's see, Tangney.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have one easy certificate of compliance, Contour Vineyard LLC, SE 3-5768. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili. Abadili.
Hold on. Yeah, now I.
Wait. What's no I?
I said, I am sorry. I had a phone call. I unmuted. I. Pure I. Thanks, George. That's a lawyer doublespeak.
Yeah. Foster.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee.
Aye.
Tangney.
Yes, aye.
Sampu.
Way to go.
I'm gonna try IA.
Yeah. That is unanimous.
Our next hearing is at 6:30 on June the 11th. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
That's unanimous. We're adjourned at 4:20.